I'm going to turn most of this over to you, but you saw that we got the budget last week, and I think the budget it's a very strong framework, and it's an education-first budget. It fully funds the operating needs of the school system. It does so by having a slower rate of growth in other county spending priority areas. So it certainly represents some tougher choices, but they are choices that support the mission of education in this community, and that's always a very high priority for our residents. So the council will begin its deliberations. We have public hearings in a few weeks, April 10th, 11th, 12th, in that time window, and but we certainly appreciate the executive's work to prepare the budget. The council will have a public hearing tomorrow night on the small cell issue. I know you've been following that. The state of Maryland is also considering its legislation that would remove local control also on Tuesday. So it's going to be a big day for that pressing issue. And now I'll invite questions from the assembled press corps. Don't all shout at once.
So the county executive said he was going to be cautious with his budget. Do you think the budget was too cautious? You know, is there something that you want to spend more on that the county executive is not wanting to spend more on?
This budget reflects the times that we're in, which is modest growth in revenue, even as the economy is quite strong. And so, it's not that different from the budgets we've had over recent years. And, what is certainly striking about this budget is the prioritization of schools and of education. Providing 100% of the school's operating budget request does necessitate some tougher choices. You have a slower rate of increase for the college, for the county government operations, for park and planning. So we will review all those, and we'll identify what the council's priorities are after hearing from the community. And now begins a phase of more intensive community participation. We always really enjoy the feedback that we get, the public hearings, the emails, social media, the letters, so the meetings, and we will work to fashion a budget that ultimately aligns with community priorities as we see them.
You're in the process of going through the CIP. There was a debate a couple weeks ago about the Montrose Parkway.
Yeah.
How much does this pending Amazon deal, factor into your thinking when you're going through the CIP and thinking about spending, trying to draw something like?
It certainly is a wild card in the whole process, isn't it? But my feeling is, we need to move forward to build the county of the future, and we know that a big part of that is going to be providing options for people who live throughout the county to get around with different modes of transportation. And that is certainly a big emphasis for the capital budget this year, moving aggressively forward on bus rapid transit, on biking infrastructure, has to be delivered on in this budget. And so we have to act on the basis of the world that we know we have in front of us, and we don't really know what's going to happen with Amazon. We're hopeful, but at the same time, the vision that many of us have for the county and its future is one that we think is appealing to Amazon under any circumstances. Got it? Doug?
Oh, this is too early. You go under the knife later this week?
I do, on Thursday.
Any thoughts as you approach your surgery?
I hope it goes well. I am, you see me sort of hobble in here with a cane. I'm sort of joking to myself that I'm kind of crawling across the finish line to this hip replacement. I was diagnosed with necrosis about 3 months ago, and it kind of gets worse and worse and worse. So I am getting a replacement on Thursday, and I'm not quite sure what to expect as far as the recovery. I personally feel like it can't be a whole lot worse than what I'm currently experiencing as far as the discomfort. So I think fortunately, the timing of the surgery is such that we have recess for a week, and I imagine I will be on a more limited schedule, meeting the requirements of the job, but not able to be out and as present as much as I would like to for a few weeks. But they say it's 6 weeks with a cane. That's the initial, that's the initial expectation, but we'll see how the surgery goes, and whether there's any difference in that. But
you're rocking the cane.
It's people ask me, unfortunately, all the time if it's a prop, but no, it's part of the daily routine at this point. So
There's no 25th Amendment type process for the situation.
that went over my head. What is that?
Swearing into.
Oh, well, actually, I think for a few days, as long as necessary, the council president responsibility will shift to. I will delegate to Nancy Navarro. I don't know what kind of medication I'll be on in the immediate aftermath. I'm hoping not much, maybe just Advil. But certainly, if I was needing any serious pain medication, I would pass on the responsibility.
Going
Back to the budget, in light of the recent budget shortfall, is that changing your thinking for this time around for this budget? Are you more cautious?
Say that again?
Are you more cautious this time around, given the shortfall from?
I mean, I can't. I've been cautious every budget year. I can't think of a real time when we have had any fundamentally different scenario here. This is the world that we live in. We live in a world of constrained resources and trade-offs, and we can't do it all. And that's this era. There was a time when it was different, and the county seemingly could do anything, but that was too good to be true, and it came crashing to an end. And now we have needs that are greater than our resources, and that's just that elevates the importance of the decisions that we make, and we have to really prioritize. We have, in terms of cautiousness, our budgets have been very effective in setting aside resources for the future. We have continued to ramp up our reserve towards our target, and this budget recommendation again keeps the reserve on target to 10% in 2020. That is an absolutely essential goal for the executive and for the county council as well.
Is there a priority for you outside of education for the budget?
Yes, I mean,
Many priorities. Fortunately, within the budget, you have lots of room for additional priority areas, but hope to move forward with investments in early education and after-school programming, libraries, parks, and trails. There's just, there's still room for lots and lots of improvements and ways to do a better job with the resources that we have.
You started this by calling it an education first budget.
Yeah.
And you just said needs exceed resources.
Last time the council called a budget an education first budget, a healthy tax increase followed.
Mm-hmm.
There's been,
We're not contemplating any tax increase.
okay.
Yeah. That's
You're
not,
contemplating.
right, but that's not a veiled, term disguising something else. Like, we're not going to raise taxes, in this budget. The executive's recommendation has a slight rate cut, and the average tax, the increase in the property tax burden for the average homeowner, I think, is $15 when you factor in inflation for the year. So, you know, this is very much maintaining the existing level of taxation.
Are there any other alternative streams of revenue that you're thinking about?
No, there really aren't any other alternative streams of revenue, yes.
Well, I mean, on the energy tax, I mean, that would obviously fall on Amazon, so if you're trying to court Amazon, one would think that you wouldn't want to touch the energy tax.
The executive has not proposed to increase the energy tax, and the council will not increase the energy tax either.
What's left? Cell phone?
There's not a left, that's the problem. I mean, you know, 40% of our money comes from property tax, roughly, about 40% from the income tax, and then maybe 10% from the energy, and then the rest is just a mishmash of things. There's not, you know, there's no secret bullet, magic bullet, secret
Cell phone.
source, stash of gold, doesn't exist. And that's okay, you know, I mean, our revenue base is increasing. It's not increasing in, you know, it's not surging, but it's growing, and we have more resources than we had this year than we had last year. You know, we are, you know, accept the responsibility of making tough choices. And you can still meet the community's needs. It's just that at the same time, everyone has to appreciate that we live in an era of constrained resources and real choices. People can't just have it all and do it all. Okay, well, thank you for covering local issues.